ne?
So,
sehr gerne.
Es sind, glaube ich, alle da. Soll ich mal alle reinlassen?
Nee, warte bitte ganz kurz, ja, einmal ganz kurz, nur für mich zu sortieren, weil ich das noch nicht weiß, was ich mache. Das heißt, wir haben am Anfang einen Trailer und ich würde nur ganz kurz Hallo von VRHAM sagen und sagen, dass wir uns wahnsinnig freuen.
Genau.
Und sage aber nichts dazu, wie das abläuft und so. Das macht alles
Richtig,
hier.
das mache alles ich.
Cool.
Cool.
Und wir machen das auf Englisch.
Yes.
Good.
Seid ihr fertig?
Yes.
Wir brauchen hier einmal Ruhe, bitte.
Dann würde ich jetzt alle reinlassen und wir anderen stellen uns stumm. Ich mache meine Kamera aus, habe ich schon. Okay, good luck. Okay, ich lasse alle rein.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Hello, everyone.
Could you all switch to mute, please, first? Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the VR Punk Pitch Battle. My name is Ulrich Straut. I'm the Artistic Director of VRHAM Festival here in Hamburg, and we are super excited to be able to do this amazing pitch session today together with the Filmförderung Hamburg Schleswig-Holstein. And we can't wait for all of your projects, and I hand over to the Film Fund and can't wait to see more in a second. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Ulrich. And it's so good that you're having us. We're really, really super excited as well. The Filmförderung Hamburg Schleswig-Holstein has started virtual reality or XR funding last year. And my name is Arne Sommer. I am kind of the head of the VR fund, although there's actually not that kind of title within our fund, but that's what I do. What we fund is VR, XR, 360-degree content on the intersection of artistic and technological innovation. And you can find all the information about this because all of you can obviously apply for this fund. You can find all the information on our website. And the next application date is actually August the 19th. So what are we going to do today? We're going to have a pitch battle. 5 projects are going to battle each other, and one of them will win a funding. So it's not a prize, money, an award. It's an actual funding with our fund. It will be up to 10,000 euros, what we call idea funding. So one of you or one team of you will get the chance to further their project with 10,000 euros working on an idea that you're going to present to us today. So who are you going to present to? To our wonderful, lovely jury, of course. And the thing is that this jury is also part of the actual jury of our funding scheme. And Ulrich is actually also part of that jury, not today, but usually he gives us a lot of input and advice. So I will introduce to you the jury, and maybe you can unmute yourself, jury, and just say hello. First of all, we have Insa Wiese. Insa is the head of the International Short Film Week in Regensburg. Hi, Insa.
Hi, thank you for having me here.
Hi, good to see you. Then we have Britta Schewe. Britta is the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer of Rocket Beans TV. Britta.
Hi, very excited to hearing your pitch.
Thank you, good to have you. And last but not least, Ralf Heinzson. He's a designer, producer of immersive content and also curator for immersive content, for instance, at the Nordic Film Days in Lübeck. Ralf, how are you?
Great to see you and excited to see your projects.
Wonderful.
Good luck for the presentation.
So I think we can dive right into it. I will explain the rules first a little bit. As I said, we have 5 projects and they all have 5 minutes to pitch. And then the jury has 5 minutes to ask some questions. So it's really easy to remember, just remember 5. I have this thing here, it's a buzzer. So first time I will buzz after 4 minutes. I will just do it so you know the sound. It's not very pleasant, I know. First time I will buzz after 4 minutes when you still have 1 minute left. And then I will buzz at the 5-minute mark, and then you have to stop your pitch, I'm afraid. We will then afterwards have a short recess of the jury. All the participants, please stay in the Zoom. We will get you back later into the Zoom, and you will find out who has won. And we will announce the winner at the closing ceremony of the VRHAM festival. That's starting at 17:30, and there's also a live stream of that you can all find on the website. So that will be the announcement of the winner then. Right, so let's dive into it. Let's pitch. And the first team is a team from Germany and Brazil, Michael Geidel and Rani Messias. And their project is called Vatu, the River That Speaks. And I will now, let's see, I think we all have to turn off our cameras now and our microphones. And then let's see if we see Michael and Rani. Can you just say something? Oh, you have already started the screen sharing.
Can you still see us?
Yes.
Artist and filmmaker based between Berlin and Rio, where I'm currently at. And I've also been a translator specializing in indigenous cosmologies while in Brazil.
Hi, and I'm Michael. I'm a creative VR and film producer. And we are the creative heads behind project Vatu, the River That Speaks. And I'm just now trying to do another little video for you. Okay, that was just a short clip that should give us a little bit of an insight what we're talking about now.
And so the creation of Vatu is basically an immersive visionary journey, which guides us through the thoughts and reflections of Ayrton Krenak. He's one of the greatest indigenous representatives, intellectuals, journalists, and also a filmmaker from Brazil right now. And he's a part of the Krenak indigenous people who were affected greatly by the dam breakages of Vale, which took place in Brumadinho, Mariana in Brazil, one of the greatest environmental disasters of our time. So the experience drives us through his cosmology and the indigenous cosmology as a cosmology that's connected to nature, communicates with nature, and comments as well as poses a reflection about our current condition as a human society, our relationship to the environment, and poses a question on our future.
Yeah, so we both, met after my last project, Dam Ironland, when I was in Brazil in 2019, which was exactly about these dam breakages. And since then, we were working on different ideas, Rani and I, how we can, make the global topic of this regenerative future and about exploiting planet and nature itself more visible. And when we got in contact with Ailton, we were just finding this idea of Vatu is just a very great possible new VR project we could be working on.
And so Ailton is often commenting on Vatu, which is basically the Doce River, the river that was completely damaged by the dam breakage that Michael just mentioned. And Vatu is their grandfather. For the Krenak people, it's not a resource. It's not even just a river. It is a part of their family. And so it's this kind of perspective that we are trying to immerse the experiences of Vatu into. A cosmology and a perspective of the world that communicates and relates so much different to nature than our Western society is accustomed to, as a way to reflect on our possibilities for a regenerative future by the very foundations of the way we see the world.
Yeah, and I think you might have, if you have a bit of time, we still have, I mean, he was writing books. Ailton is not just he's also accepted in the Western world as a thought leader about not just indigenous cultures and cosmologies, but also about thinking about sustainability as such. And if you have time, you can.
Yeah, these are 3 of the books he's published in the last couple of years. One of them is Life is Not Utilitarian. The other one is Ideas to Postpone the End of the World. And the other one is Tomorrow is Not for Sale. And so it's a combination of these ideas and his reflections that constitutes the basis for the script and this experience, as well as his narration and script inputs.
And so...
Right. That's about it.
No. Oh, is it? Do we already have the buzzer?
Because it's 5 minutes. I'm sorry. Did you hear the buzzer?
Oh, no, I didn't hear the buzzer. I
I'm
thought
so sorry.
we'd still have for that.
No, sorry. You have to stop.
Okay, then that's it.
Great. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot for your pitch. And now we welcome the jury back, and they have 5 minutes of question. Who wants to start?
I'm going in for the first question since everybody else is silenced yet. I would like to know what is it you're actually showing, because I understand the intention, but I don't feel the use case yet. So how can I imagine how everything works, what you're about to produce? Like what will I see, and what will I be able to do within the app?
Yeah, so what you've just seen in a couple of seconds was a point cloud animation, which of course is just a sample of how point cloud might look. So what you're going to experience is, since a lot of people in the Western world have lost connection to nature, or have a different connection to nature than, Ailton's cosmology of Krenak people have, we allow the user to, be guided by him and his thoughts and become, out of his perspective, part of this experience. And Rani can explain more about that.
So what the point cloud as a aesthetics can do is that it constitutes and it flows through forms, through history, and through narrative in a much more fluid way, because it constitutes imagery, just a points basically. And so you go into a formless kind of state, and you can, the story initiates in the cosmos. From the cosmos, you're in the perspective of a fish. From this fish, you see water. You're inside of a river. From the river, you come out of the river, and you see people at the basin of the river. And then we go into the Krenak ancestrality and the rituals that they used to practice in the river. From that, we see the mud, which is basically the dam breaking. And all of this is constituted by points, basically. And this is the freedom that this kind of aesthetics gives you, point cloud. And which is why we chose to kind of go for this direction. We also explore different kinds of aesthetics, such as the possibility for ultraviolet vision. For example, right now, the river is entirely contaminated. It basically doesn't even exist as a river anymore. It's entirely contaminated by toxic mud. one of the possibilities that we're looking at is ultraviolet perspective gives you a visualization of all the toxic components in this mud from a digital landscape. And you can see all these different colors that point out the toxic substances in it. So it aesthetically and digitally drives you through these landscapes in a much more fluid way due to point cloud technology.
And in VR especially, I mean, point cloud means you're in a volume. So you're actually inside of it and you can move in it. It's not like a picture or something in front of you. You're just inside of it, really. It's all of around you.
And different from actual captured 360 footage, where you're also inside of it, but you're somehow limited because the footage is almost like being shown to you, but you can't really dive into it, so to say. Point cloud somehow allows that because it changes the scenario in a much more fluid way than actual capture footage.
So I have two questions. The first is, I assume that you will have some kind of narration, or if you have, that's one of my questions. And the other one is, how do you involve the family of the Vr River, as I understand them?
So that's precisely why it is so important that we have Ailton Krenak on board. The narration will be his. He's the narrator of the project, as well as he's the script consultant, and the whole script is basically based on his books. And Ailton is our main connection to the Krenak territory. So the idea, I mean, you know, upon shooting and upon capturing images after the further development of it, is to actually shoot with a very minimized crew on Ailton territory, which would be like 1 to 2 people. And that's basically shot on sites within Krenak territory. So it involves Krenak collaboration from its very beginning of creation up to the end of it. So if
maybe you want to point out what he mentioned last night when in the talk with him yesterday. So
basically, Ailton, it looks very much forward to propelling ideas that can further expand the reflection upon the Anthropocene from his indigenous perspective. And basically, he's very eager to collaborate with us on this project because of that, because it is an opportunity to expand further this commentary from an artistic point of view. And that's what he really is excited about. So his voice also is very great as a guiding, as a narration. You can listen to some of it. It's very soothing. It's very soothing voice, but very down to the point, very critical and very on point. So I'm very excited to have him as a narrator as well, because as he has the voice and the critical thought to do it in a perfect way.
I have to cut you off here, Rani. I'm sorry. It's 5 minutes and the jury, well, had their time. So I will try this buzzer once more, because it sort of bugs me that nobody heard it.
We can't hear it, yeah.
You can make it even louder.
Can you hear it? No?
I think it's probably hard when the other people are talking that the buzzer sound comes through.
I will do it twice. Maybe that's the okay. Anyway, we move on to our next project, and that project has the great title European Dance Wars, and it's by Gorki Glaser-Müller from Sweden. Gorki is here with us, and I remind everybody else to turn off their cameras and sound. And Gorki, the floor is yours.
My name is Gorki, and I am a film director, Chilean, living in Sweden. I work multidisciplinary with the different kind of films and also artistic expressions such as radio, and I've done video art. And right now I made a documentary that is called Children of the Enemy, that is touring around the world, and we were in Krakow last weekend and won the Critics Award, the European Critics Award. But this film, this project is totally different. I'm gonna start my presentation, so you guys, you tell me if you don't see yellow. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's working fine.
Yes, we can see it.
I can't see any one of you guys, so So if you don't see, or if you don't, you will not be able to hear the sound of the videos. I will talk. So what is the European dance war? The European dance war, oh, sorry, is a VR app and an AR app for artistic dance battles. You see, you will be able to download 2 amazing solos and see them. And these solos are not street dance solos. There are modern dance, contemporary dance solos from different European dancers. And you will have to rate them in order to get to see the next experience. So this is an artistic dance battle. And I told you already a little bit about who I am. I've been working with 360 and VR since 3 years ago. I run a little lab in the west of Sweden that is called Narrative VR Lab. And AR triggers me, gives me the sense of connection with, especially with dancers that I've been working with. And they give me this sense of total presence. And why I want to work with VR is not only my curiosity, it's also because other people get very curious. And I told you a little bit about the documentary that is heavy based. It's about the children of ISIS fighters and the problem that Europe has bringing them home. So what's with it is that I usually work very narrative with a very hard core on the stuff I do. I usually have I am a narrator, and I always try to find a way of telling through my films what I like and what I love. And there is no, every solo in this app will have a story, so to say, will carry a sense, an emotion that the thing is that I lack this kind of content when I am out there, this kind of artistic dance, modern dance that makes people find their way into dance, that I find a beautiful way of communication. So I would like to bring this to people to get them to realize that it's accessible, it's more accessible now that it can be digitized. And I've been working with digitizing dance volumetrically. So I will continue with the presentation. So I have a short product and the things that I have been doing from a co-production with the opera here that is volumetry inside out, made with a Kandao camera. Is when you place yourself in the middle, but as soon as you move, the interaction is as soon as the audience move, they get the distortion that I find it aesthetically very beautiful. And this is from the making of a project that we run with Chronosphere in Holland. We're working with the 4DR studios that make holograms. This will be a whole hologram. I mean, this is, we shot this in DevKit, but we're.
I'm sorry, Gorky. That's your 5 minutes.
Okay,
right
sorry.
there. Thank you very much.
What? I'm here and I am.
Yes, now the jury
answer your question.
5 minutes to ask your questions. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And jury, please unmute yourselves.
I just post my presentation, so you guys, if you're
great.
Want to watch it later, you can do it in the chat.
Jury, questions.
So then I start with my question. So you want to combine VR and AR, right?
Not in the same app. It's the same content. There are the easily recorded dance solos, that are placed in VR in a neutral room, and then you get the sense of space between the dancer and the dancer between each other. But also, since this is only an idea pitch, the idea is to make both an AR application that makes modern dance, contemporary dance, more accessible right now. You see, because it's easy to. I was just testing Sense of Space that runs on the telephone and runs very well. So that is also my will to the idea to try it out on mobile phones and iPads and stuff like that, to make it accessible on the streets of Europe. Then you will be able to find the QR codes when you are a tourist in Paris, and then you see, oh, what's this? See the most awarded dancer from the opera there in front of the Eiffel Tower, you see? So it's kind of a popularization of an art form that for me it's very beautiful, but it's not so popular.
So I might help with the next question. You showed up a unidirectional scanning method, I would say, or setup. In your project, you would realize a 360 scan, right? Or a volumetric 360 scan, or will it be a compositing?
Singular pointed scanned people. So the hologram will be half of the people, and it has to, my idea is to have many and not, because it's cheaper to do it with DevKit, for example, and to do it with the HoloSys in Holland or whatever. Now I am part of a test program that is called Chronosphere. So, but the day over there, it costs 75,000, you know, so why it's monoscopic? So no, it's stereoscopic, but why it's from one angle only is because of the production. I need more dancers to actually be able to swipe and actually to have, oh, this is my favorite, and to make people have this will of showing someone else. My daughter show her friends, hey, have you seen this? So when you like things, you share them. That is the point of making a battle, you know. So you will have your favorite and you will defend it, and so it's a little bit of a Trojan horse, you know. I use this gimmick from the street art, but I use it in an artistic way.
And will you provide a time frame for the experience? Like, will you limit it to a couple of minutes, or do you have an idea about that?
Not even 3 minutes. I think it should be short because of not only the attention span of people, but it has to be short and effective. So I would like to say 1 minute, 2 minutes at the most. And that will open up another thing that maybe is not relevant now, but the dance houses around in Europe, they will be able to provide a dancer with a short. They will not say, oh, 5 minutes is a short film. It's totally another production.
How can the users choose between the dancers? How do they select?
It's totally, as I told you, it's a battle, but it's between something that is tango and salsa, you know, that are popular. It's not even contemporary dance, but what I tell you is that you will like both, but you have to choose, you know. It's like choose 3, 2, 1. You didn't choose, so you get like a good experiences in choosing, and there is no justice in this, you know. There will be no way of how do you call it? Either you like it or you just press in a way of that it should be more, how do you call it? More emotional, you know. I hope people get a little bit loose and just, it's not important, you know. It's choose, and then you will get another one. Spontaneous, that is the word, sorry.
Do you know the app Dance Trail?
Dance Trail or Trayer?
Trail, Dance Trail.
No, I didn't. Thank you. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
And that's your 5 minutes, Sturi. So thank you, Gorky, for presenting. And well, we talk to you later, I guess.
Yes.
Right, we move on to the next project, but sadly, as my buzzer is not really working too good, I think I will just tell you 1 minute left when there's 1 minute left, and then I will say when it's over. I think it's nothing I can fix about the buzzer now. Right, the next project, it's called Haunted Healing, and it's by Sine Ungermann and Maria. I didn't got your last name in the prep, sorry, Maria, but you will present it together, and hopefully you are in the Zoom somewhere.
We are in the Zoom.
Great.
Hello, can you guys hear us?
I can hear you, but not see you yet.
I can see you.
Ah, okay, then that's.
Maybe you start talk and then it should work.
Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. So yes, thank you so much, VRHAM, for having us in this pitch competition. My name is Maria Ingermann, and together with my business partner, Sine Ungermann, we have a creative XR studio called Man, located in Denmark, where we create VR and AR experiences, both for business and art. And alongside Lebanese filmmaker and director, Risa Martinez, based in France, we are here to represent our concept, very early stage, Haunted Healing. And I will share the screen right now. All right. 2 seconds. All right. Yes, so Haunted Healing is a 5-minute multiplayer animated VR experience revolving the subject about grief. And the story is about a young girl who loses her father and then having a really hard time coping with her emotions and understanding the grieving process. And to put a few visuals on this, we have a 30-second little concept video that we want to show you guys.
This is Haunted Healing, a 15-minute social VR experience that takes you on an interactive journey through the 5 stages of grief. Up to 6 players at a time can roam freely at their own pace within the different grieving environments, exploring the healing process along with the young protagonist, Anne, who has recently lost her father.
So as you can get an idea from this quick visual presentation, this experience deals with the different stages of grief portrayed through the Kubler-Ross model that postulates how individuals cope with the loss of a loved one. The concept of haunted healing is greatly inspired from my own past, when I lost my best friend at the age of 17 who died in a car accident. And this was a tragic early life experience for me to lose somebody that I thought I would have had in my life for the remaining of my life at least. And my brain could simply not comprehend to such a trauma. And it's taken many years and many psychology sessions before I was able to move on with my life and not linger in the past. But a lot of time I felt that people, they were waiting for me to get over it for the forthcoming months. And I felt so misunderstood. And what was important for me to learn along the way is that a lot of us don't necessarily grow out of the grief, but we learn to live with the grief. So we grow bigger from it essentially in order to accommodate it in body and mind. And this has been a big ambition for designing the experience. So it's individual how we go through the different stages of grief, the duration, the order, the perception. And we wanted to express this through a VR experience for the possibilities of audiences to enter grief in a new way, to understand it, and to open a gateway in communicating about it.
So with Haunted Healing, our overall goal is to really explore and experiment with the global development of storytelling in multiplayer VR experiences, and especially drawing inspiration from musical performances and abstract art pieces. And here's a picture of the structure of how we imagine this experience. We see that there is a linear beginning that everybody in this experience will experience, and there is a linear ending. And in between, there are these 4 stages of griefs that each is represented through color, and that the audience can actually roam between in their own pace and how they want to see it in any order each individual audience wants to. And this is going to be happening in 10 minutes, and then after that, the linear storytelling, like everybody wants to respond back to the ending that everybody is going to see. And with this limit time, we then hope that people will not necessarily see everything and hopefully want to see, maybe seeing the experience again at a later point.
The interactive scenes unfold.
We've got 1 minute left.
throughout this experience is denial, bargaining, anger, and depression. And each scene is represented through a color, which is linked to the psychologically theory of the grief. So the fifth stage, being acceptance, is introduced in the linear storytelling, as Maria mentioned, towards the end. And then we also have a social reflection room post-experience where audiences are able to communicate in real time through the application.
Yes. So with Haunted Feeling, we want it to be easily accessible, just for both for physical and virtual venues, but also as a home experience for audiences to see in their sofas, and then hopefully not being dependent on a facilitator.
So to sum up, we want to create an experience that helps audiences reflect on the state of mind towards grief. And grief has a target audience, and unfortunately, it's all of us. It's such a universal theme, and therefore it's highly relevant to dive into. We're a strong and dedicated team with the right mindset and skills in order to create this piece. We'd like to thank you for your time, and we look forward to any questions there might be.
Wow, that was spot on. So, jury, unmute yourself.
First of all, very well-timed presentation, and I really like the style of your presentation as well. But unfortunately, I don't know whether this my colleagues will think the same. But I had a very many background noises, so it was a little bit hard to understand you girls. And I wanted to ask. I understood the 5 stages of grief and the 4 rooms I can visit and go through, and the last part is a linear part. Do I have to fulfill any tasks when I'm in the rooms, or is it just me hanging out in the rooms, being as long there as I want to? Because I don't know, maybe I need more time for my anger or something like that. And is there any I don't know, timeline or task which I have to fulfill, otherwise I can't visit any other rooms or something? Is there any?
It is a story driven experience. So in each of the 4 stages of grief that we're portraying, that's non-linear, you will be seeing Faye coping or acting through a scene that will then be looping every 2 or 3, oh my God. Oh, 2 or 3 minutes. Are we still there?
Yeah, you're still there. We just stopped the screen share, sorry.
Sorry, I just freaked out because I thought we lost a connection. So there's a storytelling phase that takes 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll gradually loop again and again. And this,
yes, and I just want to say that there is little tasks that you're going to do. You're just going to maybe give her something or reveal little, like activating little extra pieces when you're in these different stages. So you see some more memories with her father, but very small tasks. So, and else we are going for bodily interactivity, something with particles, something with controlling the lights, maybe. That's more the kind of activity in this experience. Yeah.
And how will you reach your audience? So how do I get to know that there is your experience?
Yes, so this idea here and concept has also been a part of the New Image Festivals, where we have really tried to have some great meetings with a lot of people showing interest in this. And we can see there's both interest from festivals and also museums. Been talking to someone from the French museums and someone in Finland who are very interested in this piece. So we are hoping that whenever we get this piece done, we can reach out to a lot of both different venues like museums and festivals, but also, as we mentioned in the pitch, the distribution will also be for home users. So we're hoping to reach an audience as well on the Oculus store.
And then
that was the point. That was the point I was seeing. Thank you. And yeah, because you talked about that you want to reach an audience that is at home, but when the audience doesn't know about your project, so it's very difficult to reach this audience.
We come from a film background, and we have previously created quite a few VR pieces that we have distributed at various A-rank festivals around the world. So we have a fantastic contact to film festivals at Venice, at Cannes, at Tribeca, and we are also aiming towards having it launched at these festivals. We know that there is a major target audience for that there, and then the ripple effect will go from that as well.
I also have a question. So very nice presentation as well. How did you come to the number of 6 users? Why did you limit with 6? Is there a technical barrier, or is it a conceptual idea?
I think mostly technical was the reason why we keep that number. We know and have done a lot of experimental with Multiplayer VR and also played with Mozilla hubs and stuff. And there is these limits of 15, I think, maximum, unless you have to put it into VR chat, then there can be a lot of users. But then also to keep it not too messy and crowded, I think 6 users are a good number. Is that at least what we want to try?
I mean, at this point, it's not set in stone. We were just thinking a lot about the post-reflection room where we hope that an audience will interact with each other. And we were just thinking how many would then, be a good number for discussing. So you kind of feel like you have an intimate group that you are keen in sharing with and not the whole world. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. That's about it. Right, thank you. The next project is about to pitch now, and this project is called Das unsichtbare Band, and we didn't really talk about an English title. I cannot just, well, maybe you can start with that, Alina. Alina Chiranek and Sebastian, who also has a second name, I guess, but I don't know it because we didn't have time to find that out in the preparation. But if you are going to unmute yourselves right now, you can start your pitch.
All right. It's the invisible bond. And so, hi, my name is Alina Zeranik. I'm a writer, director, and producer from Leipzig, and I'm also part of a young production company called Hackfilms from Halle. And in my documentary works, I like to push boundaries towards different genres and formats. And I usually deal with topics that surround me, also landscapes that surround me, and I also spend a lot of time in research. So my colleague Sebastian König from Blend of X is also here, and let me just. All right. And together we have recently produced a VR called Astoria Vr, which is in the VR, you travel back in time from a real night bar, the Astoria night bar in Leipzig in the GDR, to the year of '86 in a very dazzling place. So we have a great interest in real lost places that tell you the most unbelievable stories only when you listen closely enough. So yeah. So the invisible bond is a 15-minute interactive VR experience based on the facts of forced child adoption in the GDR. And the main character is Lotta. And so please bear in mind, this is only a mood board because we strictly stuck to the rules, only presenting an idea. And this is seriously really just an idea. So just imagine you're standing in front of, on the shore of a beautiful lake, and you're holding a letter in your hand that says, "Dear Lotta, it is time for you to know the truth. The burden that I have carried with me for so many years, and you were supposed to be an only child, but you've always sensed something. Today you must go on your own journey into the past and try to make sense of what I can't put into words. Mom." So attached to this letter is a death certificate issued on the name of Frida, who died in 1987, and also your own birth certificate issued on the same date. On the back of the letter, there is a map of the lake with a cross in it, in the middle of it. So you have to dive into the water and to the bottom of the lake. So the search for clues, for hidden clues begins, and questions need to be answered, like who is Frida and what happened to her? So the journey takes you back into 3 time bubbles. Today, 1993 and 1987. The setting itself is always the same spot, but has changed dramatically in the course of time. You travel to a half-demolished house on the rim of a mining pit of the 90s, to an intact GDR kitchen in '87, and then back to the lake. Within these bubbles, you have to collect various clues, and a certain amount of clues triggers the next time jump, and you dive deeper into the story. And by collecting and combining the information, you begin to investigate the fate of Frida. And step by step, you learn about what happened to your twin sister. So the clues will be hidden in different forms, like, you know, a note in a cooking book, an old newspaper, maybe even a Stasi file, photos, a locked box, and so on. So the more clues you find, and the better you can. Okay. Okay. So the Invisible Bond is much more than just a VR detective story. It combines the drastic change of landscapes in East Germany, and also which implies the loss of Heimat for thousands of families, and tells the abuses of a perfidious system. So the forced child adoption is still a topic that is unscripted chapter in recent history, and I believe it's important to talk about it. And using, because we are surrounded in Saxony and Saxony-Anhalt of these, you know, absurd landscapes, to embrace these landscapes and put them into the story. So imagine a wild mixture of Netflix series Dark and the games The Room or Gone Home, and the documentaries such as Searching for Sugar Man or Finding Vivian Maier. And it would be great if you would like to come with us on this journey back in time.
Thank you, Alina. Thanks for being almost on time. Jury, you can unmute yourselves now. We've got 5 minutes.
Super interesting detective story, I'd like to say. Again, I don't know, maybe it's because of my internet connection is really, really bad or something, but can you please repeat for me the sequence, like diving into the lake and then coming out into the different cities? I didn't really get the jump, the connection between how that's gonna look and work. Otherwise, I'm really keen on exploring Sachsen-Anhalt.
So the idea is that you have to dive into the lake, and you find on the bottom of the lake, you find remains of walls and a tombstone and, you know, different objects and a bench. And you also find, I don't know the word in English, like eine Spielfigur.
Yeah.
When you turn it, so you have to discover all these hints, and then in the end you discover this Spielfigur, and then it takes you to the next level, into the past.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
And the place, it's one place. It just has changed in the course of time, and it's the same place. It's just now it's a lake, and back then it was a house, but it's been excavated with Braunkohle.
Ich verstehe. Do you have any idea how long the gameplay will be?
Around 15 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for your interesting presentation. You made me really curious. I'm curious to know if there's a personal relation. Like, how do you research the material from back then, from '87?
There is no personal connection apart from that I've been living here, and the GDR
Alina is
past.
a very good researcher as well.
And I'm really trying to be precise, and I spent, you know, many weeks at the Stasi offices reading all those files, and there are just so many undiscovered cases. And the forced child adoption, so 93 is not, you know, it's not a coincidence, because only in 93 there was a clearance office established for parents and children who wanted to find each other again. And this is still ongoing, and there is no official excuse so far of those responsible for that. So I think it's still very political, and there is still a lot of, you know, work to do. Did I answer your question? I don't see you.
I'm sorry. I just no, you answered the question. I was just curious, how do you find, also including the visual material, how do you come up with your concept of setting up this image of that time? Because especially as you say that you focus on being so precise, so that will be interesting to follow your concept then.
Yeah, I'm searching and I'm finding all those weirdest people and places where there is still, you know, when you travel back in time in real time. Sebastian and BlendFX are really good at recreating in CGI places in VR. So this is how we worked on Hotel Astoria on the bar. So this bar doesn't exist anymore. It's been demolished a few years ago. And with you know, photos and tiny little bit of footage material, we've been able to recreate this place the way it used to be.
Also interviews with time witnesses and videos.
Okay, thanks. That answered quite well.
So time for one more question, jury. Don't be shy.
But actually, everything is clear for me, so okay. I don't have any questions.
Nice.
I really liked it. Yeah.
That's a good sign then. All right, guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Then we come to our last pitch. Julian Höglert is going to pitch, and he has a project called Climate Change VR. Julian, are you there?
Yes, I am here, Arne.
Perfect. Then you can start pitching now.
Yes. So what is one of the most important, if not the most important, local and global issues of our time? It is climate change. So the health of our planet will affect our individual human health. So my health, your health, Insa, your health, Arne, your health, Britta. Yeah, not to mention all the other generations that would come after us. So in my many talks, I found out that people are generally aware of the problem that climate change VR brings, but also not really. So there's no constant awareness. And most of us don't act. So there's often no connection seen between the global and the local impacts. So what can we do about it? My name is Julian Höglert, and my idea is to develop a virtual reality experience named Climate Change VR that brings people into emotional contact with the full devastation that climate change can bring. So extreme weather events, fire risks from heat, crop failure, for example, pollution, the increase of potential pandemic diseases, yes, loss of biodiversity, and so on. So, but the climate crisis suffers under a crisis of imagination. So data and facts are too abstract to change current human behavior. So people need to be touched emotionally to develop an understanding of the importance of the crisis, and yeah, to create a trigger for action. So I believe virtual reality is the ideal medium for transporting people into a future that appears highly real and create proximity and emotional connection. So how does my idea or experience look like? So you start as a female climate scientist, Eunice, in the year 2025 in a small weather station in the countryside somewhere in Northern Europe. So in the weather station, you find an AR headset that you could put on. So in VR, you can put on an AR headset. And with this AR headset, you can collect climate data, among others, about carbon dioxide from trees and rivers around you. So the 4 fields that you can collect data in are forests, fields, water, and weather. After collecting the local data outside, you can transfer them into a virtual globe that is standing in the weather station. And what happens next is very important because the virtual globus reveals the climate change effects and the impacts of the world globally. So why is that important? By putting local data that you collected by yourself in the fields, for example, people get to see how local data and global data are connected. So we solve the problem of the crisis of imagination of the climate change data. So we make it visible. But it does not stop there. After you put the local data into the globe, you can then leave the weather station, go outside again. But now everything around you changed. Trees are burned, water level is risen. There are no more animals running around in the field. So now you find yourself in the year 2050. So 25 years later. So what happened with the local data?
1 minute left.
With the local data from 2025 that you collected outside and the global impact that you saw on the globe, you now experience and feel the local impacts that will await us in 2050. So I already found impactful partners for this idea. So I want to name just two of them. One is HTC Vive, who is one of the leading VR hardware suppliers. They support the idea with hardware and technical knowledge. And the second partner is a University of Education in Vienna, who want to do a study about it. And our goal is to show the experience to school classes, for example, is one of the target groups, to make future generations even more aware. Yes, and I have been working with VR since 2015, so that you know that I'm also, a little bit experienced and I know what I'm doing. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Julian, right on time. And the jury now has the 5 minutes of questions.
So probably I start. Thank you for the presentation. And I totally agree with your analysis that we have this big problem of getting people to imagine the effects of climate change. So I think that's a good idea, a good approach. My first question would be, how do you, or do you incorporate real data? And if so, how would you do that? So what's your reference data that you use from the real world?
Yes, we want to use real data actually to make it as real as possible. And I read a lot of studies and we collect data from studies, but we are actually at the moment also looking for a scientific partner in Germany or also in Europe who will work together with us on this issue. So like an institute who will serve for the data, because we want to make it as real as possible and not like a fake simulation. But it will be a simulation, of course, because we don't know what will happen in 2050. But as you have seen now, there are even now impacts. Even without virtual reality, you can see quite a lot of impacts in the real world, but they will be way more harsh in the future. And yes, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Britta, Insa, do you have a question?
Yes, what about the pictures? Are they animated? I guess, right, they are animated, right?
What pictures do you mean?
And the pictures you will see in the experience. Like you have, I think you have to see something. So this should be animated, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's a full immersive virtual reality experience. So you can run around, you collect the data by yourself. With these AR glasses, you have HUD, like a HUD, and there you see like this little UI data streams that are on your glasses, and then you collect it, and if you go into the HUD, it gets transferred to this virtual globe, and then you can see the data. It's a 3D model, basically like a real virtual reality experience. Like I would do it in Unreal with the Unreal engine. So, and then you see the different like heat maps and different streams, like the poles are going down, and so you have this real visualization, and you can also look around and turn it with the finger. So there are a lot of interactions involved, and we know that it's quite a challenge, but that's why we want to Also keep it simple to specific data, that it's not too big, because since 6 years of virtual reality making, we know that a real full immersive VR experience is quite some work.
You just mentioned we. So do you have a team for doing or for making it come true, or would you do it on your own?
I have developed the idea by myself, like in my free time, as a project, like a hard project, so to say, next to my other VR work. But I have a team who's also keen on doing that. So we have 3 VR developers who are would like to start with the project. We haven't started yet. We have worked on the concept and made some visualizations to see how the globe looks like, how the interactions look like. So, but we haven't started with actually coding or creating the experience. But yes, we have 1 storyteller, 3 VR developers, and me. So we are 5 people. And yeah, because for such a project you need some people, and we are backed by HTC Vive, which is great because we will get all the hardware from them and don't have to buy it by ourselves.
Okay, one more question maybe. Doesn't look like it. Thank you very much, Julian.
Thank you.
And thanks to all of our great pitchers today. What an amazing slate of projects, and it's going to be really hard for the jury to pick. So at this point, we say goodbye to our audience. The stream will stop shortly, and the jury will go into recess somewhere, and they will discuss what's going on and come up with a winner. And the winner will be announced at the closing ceremony of the festival later on, 5:30. But please, we ask all participants to stay in the Zoom, and we will get you back at 5 o'clock. So we will just put you into the waiting room, and then we will get all of you back at 5 o'clock to say thank you again and to tell you who the winner is going to be. All right, thanks a lot. That was really amazing, and I can't wait to hear what the jury is going to say. So we say bye-bye now to the viewers and to our pitchers for half an hour. And then, well, let's see what happens.